Some people think a big newspaper was mean to Meghan Markle. They say the paper left out parts of a letter she wrote just to make her look bad. This made her family feel very hurt. A famous writer named Tom Bauer looked into this. He checked both sides of the story. Meghan always talks about being real and telling the truth from her big house in California. But Tom found something very strange. It seems she might have told the royal family some lies before she married Prince Harry. Now, those lies are starting to come out, and it is a big mess. This is where the story gets wild. The perfect life Meghan shows the world might have secrets she never wanted anyone to see. It all started when her sister, Samantha Markle, gave some hints. These hints made everyone on the internet start looking for the truth. Suddenly, the perfect image Meghan worked so hard to build began to show cracks. If you want to know more, you should follow this story. It involves old records from 1997 that were hidden for a reason. When a story everyone believes starts to break apart, things get very interesting. Meghan worked hard to build her own brand. She talks a lot about being honest and proud of who you are. She gives big speeches about being a real person. Her message is always to be yourself and work hard. It sounds very good when she says it, but when smart writers like Andrew Morton and Tom Bauer tried to write books about her, they found it very hard. These men have written about kings and queens for many years. They are not just random people. They tried to find out who Meghan really was before she met Harry, but they hit a wall. Andrew Morton said it was a real struggle to find the truth about Meghan. Tom Bauer felt the same way. They found that people only wanted to say nice things and the real story was hard to find. It is like trying to finish a puzzle when half of the pieces are gone. You can see the edges, but the middle is just empty. For someone who talks so much about being real, this is very strange. She tells people to be honest, but her own past is very blurry. People are starting to notice that the timing of her life does not always match up. People on the internet notice that Meghan's story has big gaps. She talks about her time at college, but then everything else feels like it happened too fast. It is like watching a movie where someone cut out the middle scenes. You can tell something is missing, but you don't know what. Everyone has a past, but when you tell everyone you're totally honest, they start to ask questions when they find empty spots. The story she told looked perfect, like a fairy tale for a magazine. But the more people looked, the more they wondered what was left out. Why did smart writers have such a hard time finding the facts? Why did her life story feel like it was edited like a video? Meghan seemed to change herself so many times that no one could tell who she really was before she became famous. These were not just guesses, these were questions from people who spent years looking for the truth. Her story was almost too perfect. In the world today, when something looks too controlled, people start looking for what is hidden underneath. They want to know the version that didn't make it into the news. There were many questions but no answers. Then Samantha Markle stepped in. Samantha is Meghan's half-sister. She has said many things over the years. At first, most people didn't believe her. They thought she was just a jealous relative who wanted money or attention. They made excuses for Meghan and said Samantha was just trying to stay famous. But this time, it felt different. Samantha was not acting crazy or yelling. She was very calm and careful with her words. She didn't make wild guesses, she just suggested things. Samantha said she had papers from the 1990s that no one had ever seen. When someone screams, it is easy to ignore them. But when someone speaks quietly and carefully, people start to listen. It is like a mystery movie where the person tells you a secret and then goes quiet. You want to know more. For a long time, Meghan acted like Samantha didn't exist. She tried to write her out of her life, but Samantha didn't need to force her way back. She just needed to plant a few seeds of doubt in people's minds. Samantha shared a story about a birth certificate as proof of a big secret. This was a huge revelation that shocked many people. Her tone was not angry. She sounded like she was just telling the facts and waiting for the right time. Suddenly, people didn't see her as a mean sister anymore. They saw her as someone who might know a real secret. She didn't need photos or big proof. She just needed to make people wonder. Within a few hours, the whole internet was trying to solve the mystery. The internet moved very fast. People started watching every old video of Meghan to find clues. They looked at her body language from years ago. Amateur detectives became full-time investigators. Samantha understood that you don't have to prove anything if you can make people ask questions. One small comment changed the whole conversation. News websites started writing about the drama just to get more clicks. Fans tried to defend Meghan, but the pressure just kept growing. Everyone was waiting to see what would happen next. Someone decided to write to the office that keeps birth records in California. They wanted to know if something happened in 1997 that Meghan keeps secret. The office said they found records showing a woman with Meghan's name gave birth to a child in 1997. But there was a big catch. All the details are locked away. They cannot tell anyone the name of the child or anything else. The records exist, but they are a secret. This made people very curious about what was being hidden. Records are usually private, but the timing of when these were locked was very strange. They were sealed in December 2018. That was right when Meghan was starting her new life as a royal. You have to wonder why someone waited 20 years to hide those papers. It wasn't just birth records either. Her first marriage papers were also hidden. Samantha said it was a quiet wedding in California that no one in the family knew about. They just found random people to be witnesses. This pattern of hiding records makes people very suspicious. The internet found a name, Joe Giuliano. Suddenly, everyone was talking about him. People made videos about secret marriages and used giant red letters to get attention. It was like a dream where everyone believed a new theory. The story said Joe was a secret boyfriend or husband from 1997. People called him the ghost groom. They looked for every bit of info they could find, but when people looked for real facts, they found nothing. There was no marriage license and no photos that were real. The whole story about Joe started to fall apart. The theory about Joe was like building a house on sand, it just wouldn't stay up. The more people looked, the worse it got. Dates didn't match and people told different stories. Even the people who didn't like Meghan had to admit the Joe story wasn't real. It was a big distraction. Then a man named Sean Johnson came into the story. He said they were together and she got pregnant. That part was real, but the Joe story still didn't make sense. It felt like people were trying to force two different stories together. After being quiet for a while, Meghan came back, but the mystery didn't go away. If Joe was not the right guy, people started looking at the family tree they already knew. Sean Johnson's name came up more. He is Meghan's cousin and he was in old family photos. No one really knew who he was before, but then people started connecting dots. What if the secret was about someone who had been there the whole time? People started to think that family stories were changed to keep everything looking simple and clean. The internet doesn't need facts when the vibes feel right. People looked at old family videos with new eyes. They looked at smiles and how people moved. They said Meghan's cousin and a secret child moved the same way. People said that what she told Harry didn't match the real story. They said that if the royal family knew the truth, things would be very different. They thought the engagement might not have even happened. Family resemblance became the big explanation for everything. People acted like experts and pointed out how everyone looked alike. Suddenly, a new letter appeared. It was a real letter on paper, not an email. People said it was from Samantha Markle and the internet went crazy. Everyone looked at the handwriting and the paper to see if it was real. Some experts said it was fake, but others said it was real. This disagreement made people talk even more. The letter talked about family problems that needed to be fixed. It was vague, so it could mean anything. This was perfect for people who like to guess. They used it to support their own theories. The letter came out just when Meghan was trying to fix her image. She wanted to be known for her new brand and wellness, but then the letter appeared and everyone went back to talking about secrets. It ruined her plans. Meghan spent months working on her new direction, but then one letter changed everything. Samantha stayed quiet during the chaos. She didn't say she wrote it, but she didn't say she didn't write it. This silence kept the story alive and kept the pressure on Meghan. Tom Bower said that everyone should have listened to Samantha all along. You would think people would move on, but this story won't die. Meghan built her image on being in control. Every smile looks practiced. Every time she goes out, it looks like it was planned perfectly. When something looks too perfect, people start looking for cracks. They want to see what happens when the plan goes wrong. It is just how people are. We get suspicious when things look too good. Meghan's image is so controlled that any small mistake becomes a giant deal. People want to see what is behind the curtain. Samantha's plan is smart. She doesn't have to do much. She just drops a hint every few months and the internet starts a fire. The media loves it because it gets them a lot of views. Everyone wins except the people in the story. Meghan's team has to fix the mess every time. Fans defend her and critics attack her. It is a cycle that never ends. The mystery is worth more than the answer. If we knew the truth, the story would be over. But since we don't know, people keep talking. The uncertainty is what makes the story run. Maybe the secret from 1997 is not in a vault. Maybe it is just waiting for the right time to come out. In Meghan's world, silence is not peace, it is pressure. There's a lot of tension behind her smile. Every question that has no answer adds to the weight. People are convinced there is more to the story. They are just waiting for it to finally break open. Samantha started this with just a few whispers and it worked. Now those questions follow Meghan everywhere she goes. The internet never forgets. It always comes back to the mystery. We are just getting started.